Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Logan Blackman Show YouTube channel. It's a pretty a somber day, I guess you could say, as we just watched the United States lose once again to Panama, with Cecilia Waterman scoring in the 94th minute or 95th minute, whatever you want to call it. It's just, I was talking about this last night while I was watching the game. I've just got to stop expecting things as a sports fan. Like, I remember after the Buffalo Bills lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs this past year, it kind of just I looked at it and I was like, why did I expect anything different? Like, you obviously as a fan are rooting for your teams to win every single time, but there becomes a certain point where you're like, why am I expecting something to change at this point in time? What's different this time than the previous times? Because this is now the third straight tournament where the United States has been eliminated by Panama. You look at the 2023 Gold Cup, you look at the 2024 Copa America, and you look at this year. And I know, again, I brought this up in the preview video where it's like, technically, they didn't get eliminated by Panama, but that was pretty much the final nail in the coffin because they weren't going to beat Uruguay. Bolivia were not going to get a result against Panama, so it's pretty much eliminated the United States in that game. But this one in particular was one of the more frustrating ones that I can remember. I did see some people going like over the top around like this is the worst United States performance of all time, and I said the game against Trinidad and Tobago prior to the 2018 World Cup, that was probably the worst performance I've ever seen from a United States men's national team. But this one was bad. All around it was bad, and what makes it even worse is the quotes from Mauricio Pochettino going into the game of talking about how, like, in 10 to 15 years, the United States can dominate the world of soccer. In 5 to 10 years, they could be the number one team in the world. Like, these quotes that came out were just like, okay, so we're going to dominate soccer, but first we had to lose to Panama for the third straight tournament. Like, what's the level to get up to that point? Because we're still struggling down here. And as we've talked about in every single video where we played Panama and ultimately lost to Panama, the United States has a better squad on paper. They do. Every single time they play these games, there's every single team they play in CONCACAF, pretty much, maybe exceptions for like Canada and Mexico at certain extents there, but the United States has the best squad in CONCACAF on paper. But unfortunately, this game's played on grass. The United States cannot just walk in there and be the big bad United States men's national team and beat these teams just on that alone. No, they have to actually show heart, show passion for it. And there's been some question marks raised around this team's love for the national team in the past, showing like the balls, the effort, the care, and it just hasn't been there in the past few tournaments. Like, there's been questions, like, you look at what happens in Europe, like players like Josh Sargent, who have scored 12 goals and 5 assists for Norwich City this season, who have been on fire for their clubs this season. He has not scored a goal for the national team since 2019. We're in 2025. 2019 was the last time he scored a goal, and he did technically score a goal in this game against Panama, but it was ruled offsides because Tim Weah's run was ruled off. But this team has always had those question marks. It's like an internal thing where it's like, does this team actually care? Is it a privilege or is it a favor? Are you actually privileged and honored to represent your nation, or are you doing this as a favor? That's the kind of the situation that we're stuck in the United States men's national team setup. So the questions are going to be raised about like, oh my God, Mauricio Pochettino, we thought he'd be so much better than Greg Berhalter as manager, and we're seeing the same shit this point in his career. Now, I will defend Mauricio Pochettino to a certain extent because it's still young in his United States men's national team career. I'm not going out on fraud watch or anything like that. I'm not calling for his head, but this result is terrible. It's terrible. That's the long and short of it. It's terrible. It is a bad result. It is one of the worst results in recent memory for the United States men's national team. The Panama game last year is not far behind on that mark. It's just bad. It's bad, and this is going to take time. Like, he's still, again, young in his United States men's national team managerial career. And I know there's some people out there that have talked about, does he have one eye looking back to Europe? Is he actually committed to the United States men's national team? And I say again, just give him time. Give him more time. This is a really shit performance. It's a really shit feeling right now that we're all feeling, but we just got to give him some more time. And hopefully that this thing all gets cleared out. And I don't want to make any excuses for anything that happened in this game. I don't want to call on injuries. I don't want to call on, I don't know. I just don't want to call on anything because there's, again, no reason that the United States should be losing this game. And that's no disrespect to Panama whatsoever. Panama always plays up for this game. Panama is always hungrier. They were hungrier in this game. They were hungrier in 2024. And they were hungrier in 2023. They are always hungrier. And you can go like, well, Logan, we brought up in the preview that Mauricio Pochettino's first game as manager was against Panama, but that was a friendly. It didn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. And these competitive fixtures are where you are judged as an international manager because in those friendlies, you should dominate those games. You should dominate, but in these competitive fixtures, you're going to be expected to win. You're going to need to win. You need to take the fight to the team, and the United States just didn't do that. Everything was so toothless. It was embarrassing. Nothing that the United States did really struck fear in the heart of Panama. Like, Josh Sargent had a shot. A low-driven cross from Weston McKennie got deflected by the defender, hit the post on the side. Timothy Weah sent a cross into Weston McKennie. Didn't really get a lot on it on the header. That one got saved as well. Tyler Adams in the 97th minute or whatever had a shot that glazed over the bar, which would have been an absolute worldie had he scored it. But hey, we've seen Tyler Adams score worldies before. Remember the Mexico game last year in the Nations League final, but there was just nothing that the United States did that really struck fear or made me think that this team was actually going to win the game. And then you look at the subs as well. You look like Jack McGlynn. Like, Jack McGlynn was just brought into the squad. He wasn't in the squad originally. So why is he one of the first subs you bring on? Why is Giovanni Reyna or Diego Luna not coming into the game when we can see there's no creativity in this squad right now? And Mauricio Pochettino after the game talked about that they were planning on bringing on Luna and Reyna in extra time. Like, that's pretty much playing for a field goal in football. Like, why are you playing for a field goal? Go out there and take it. You needed a goal. You need to score. You need some creativity. Insert that creativity. That's where I'll get really frustrated with, is that, oh, we were waiting till extra time. Like, I understand Chris Richards' injury was not necessarily ideal, but put them in. Nothing's working up to this point. You cannot go wrong by putting Diego Luna or Giovanni Reyna in. And as we've talked about before about players like not replicating their club form at international level, Giovanni Reyna is one of the few people that actually plays better for the national team than he does at club level. Like, there were some talks going into this tournament about Giovanni Reyna being included because he hasn't played well for Borussia Dortmund. But for the United States, he always performs. He was the man of the match in the last Nations League. He is very creative. He's a frustrating player off the pitch sometimes, but he's got that creative spark this United States men's national team needs. And looking at all the other players the United States has at their disposal, is there a more creative player than Giovanni Reyna? Like, I would have been fine with Diego Luna even going in because I know Mauricio Pochettino likes him. Remember with the big balls comment that we made before, but man, like, just no heart, no effort, toothless. And that's been a common theme with this group of players for the past however many years now. Like, you look at the Dempseys, Donovans, Howards, that era. That was a privilege, an honor, the pinnacle of their career to represent the national team. I mean, this is the quote-unquote golden generation of U.S. soccer, and we have nothing really to show for it. Dominating soccer in 10 to 15 years, being the number one ranked team in 5 to 10 years, can that happen? Sure, I guess anything's possible, but at this point in time, it looks very, very unlikely because I just don't see that fight from these groups of players, and that's going to have to get coached out of them. So that's, again, why I'm going to give Pochettino time, because this is something we bitched about with Greg Berhalter in the past, is that lack of effort, that lack of fight, like not taking the game to the opponent, rather just letting the opponent take the game to you. You look back at the 2022 World Cup in games against Wales where you sit back, against England where England's sitting back. You can go and attack them. You are the underdog. Take it to them. And then against Iran, Pulisic scores at halftime, and then all of a sudden we've got a 5-4-1 formation. Like, that's what we are doing. And then against Netherlands, where we're sitting back, and the Netherlands scores 2 goals that are the exact same thing. Like, we just had no fight, no change, no empathy, and I don't want to see that continue under Mauricio Pochettino. So I'm going to give him time, but this game is a giant slap in the face. This is the first time the United States has ever lost in the Nations League. 3 times they have won the tournament. 2020, 2023, 2024. They've won it 3 times. I know I got a little confused earlier about saying back-to-back times and all that. Years-wise, it makes sense, but it's back-to-back tournament champions. But it's the first time they've ever lost. And it's, again, against Panama, so it had to make sense. And if you would have told me before the tournament started that the United States would play Canada, I would have assumed that would have been the championship game. Like, you look at some of the players Canada has at their disposal. Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, Kyle Larin, who Jonathan David and Kyle Larin, weirdly, are both competing every single game to become Canada's all-time leading goal scorer. You look at Jonathan David on 31, Kyle Larin at 30. Like, they're just neck and neck in that category. You also got players like Stephen Eustachio, Kone in that squad as well. Tejan Buchanan off the bench in this game against Mexico brings a lot of speed. Same with Schefflerberg. But in the game against Mexico, they just fell short. Raul Jimenez scores in the first minute of the game and then scores an absolute screamer free kick from well outside the box thanks to a Santiago Jimenez free kick that was drawn by a Stephen Eustachio fumble. Edson Alvarez also scored in a goal in the game from a free kick, but he was ruled offsides, and he was. But the big controversy in this game between Mexico and Canada was the penalty shout. Cornelius was fouled by Edson Alvarez in the box, and the referee gave a free kick for Mexico. And if you look at it, the more times you look at it, you're more like, that might actually be a penalty for Canada. And that you look at how that could have changed the outcome of the game, and we don't know if he would have scored it. Like, I would assume Alphonso Davies would have taken the penalty. I would assume so because he's the captain. I would assume he would take one, but maybe Jonathan David takes it. But regardless, we don't know really if he's going to score, but we'd like to think that one of those 2 players would score the goal that puts Mexico up, because Maligan, if you remember, was not in the Copa America tournament. He got hurt right before the tournament. I didn't really look that comfortable in net the entirety of the game, but he did enough. Mexico comes out 2-0 victors, and they're going to be taking on Panama in the final. Like, that's just not great. It's not great. And Canada versus the United States is it's always an interesting matchup. They met in the 2023 Gold Cup. If you remember that game, US won on penalties because Matt Turner stood on his head in that game. But yeah, I didn't think we'd be in this situation. I really didn't. I don't really care if you look like again, Panama's had the United States number. They've been more hungry in all of these games. They're playing up. They're taking it. Like, they are just hungrier than the United States. They have a lot more. They have more fight in this game. But either, with that being said, with the squad the United States has on paper, they should always win that game. Again, no disrespect to Panama, but they should always win. But again, too bad this game's played on grass. And I'm hoping for this United States game against Canada that we have a little bit better crowd. I know March Madness started and everything, and basketball ranks supreme to soccer in the United States, but that crowd was so embarrassing. Like, the game itself was embarrassing, but the crowd was awful. It was a bad crowd, a bad showing. Like, everything you want to say about this game, whether it's the crowd or the game itself, but it was just bad. Everything about it was just bad. So I'm just hoping for a better overall performance. The United States, I'm a little bit more concerned for this game because, again, I didn't think we'd be in a situation where we're playing in a third, fourth place game, but hey, Canada might not think they were going to be in this spot either. So we're looking at the starting lineup. I'm going to make some changes here to the lineup that we saw against Panama because we need that creativity in there. And Matt Turner, for what he has done up to this point in the United States, I can respect. You remember when he first took part in the Gold Cup, when he had one cap to his name, really took a stranglehold on that starting position. He was at Arsenal. He played well in the Cup games, got a pretty decent transfer to Nottingham Forest. But ever since he moved to Forest, his form and confidence has been like tanking. Like, it's not even like a gradual decline. It's literally just straight up and down. And he's just going straight down. And he got a loan move to Crystal Palace, and he just hasn't played. So you look at the last time he actually consistently played at club level, he was considered by some to be the worst keeper in the Premier League, at least on form, and then now he's not playing at Crystal Palace, and he's barely ever going to play because of Dean Henderson. Like, there's just not a chance for him to really play, and you can tell. Like, that goal that Waterman scored, terrible positioning there by Matt Turner. And I'm also going to call out Joe Scally and Tim Ream in there as well, who also not very good positioned in there. Joe Scally completely lost Waterman on the run, but Matt Turner, it's been some time that we've talked about Matt Turner's quote-unquote future of the United States. Like, there was an article that was posted about Matt Turner being a little hesitant around the job security, I guess you could say, around his number one position. So in this game, I'm going to go with Patrick Schulte. Zach Steffen is also an option in there as well, but the goalkeeper situation is a little bit of a questionable spot for the United States, and Mauricio Pochettino has shown some loyalty, or not loyalty. He trusts Patrick Schulte. We've seen him in a couple friendlies for the United States. I'm going to have him start in net here. The weird thing is, it's a third place game, but you still want to win. Because you look at some of the teams like in the World Cup, like 2018 is the one where I look at with England, where they basically played an entire backup unit at third place game against Belgium. I don't know if the United States will go that route, but it wouldn't surprise me. I hope they still bring a pretty strong starting 11 in this game, but Patrick Schulte would be my pick in net. At right back, Joe Scally, we're moving him back to right back, played left back in the game against Panama. He just offers no threat going forward. He cannot cross with his left foot. He just can't. That's just the fact of the matter. Every single time he tried to cross the ball, he would cut back and then cross with his right foot. He just doesn't have that, and he's not a very good option going forward in general, but just playing him in his more natural position, I think, would be the best route for the United States. And Yunus Musa, he plays all these different positions, but he hasn't really nailed down that specific spot for the United States because Mauricio Pochettino has been playing him at right mid. He played him at right back in this game. He's played right CDM in the past as well. Played as a number 8 for the United States. He played as a lone number 6 before as well. But like again, in the CONCACAF Nation League under BJ Callahan, he played as a number 6. So he needs a position laid down, but he's not a right back. So I'm going to go with Joe Scally in that spot. Center back partnership is pretty interesting because we don't know what the situation surrounding Chris Richards is because he got that head injury late in the game, I think around the 80th minute or so. So Mark McKenzie came in. I think the best center back partnership, or the best center back the United States has, is Chris Richards. But he's another one where there's been some people questioning, like, how come you can't carry your club form into international? Like, why can't you necessarily be that? I think he's the best one they have. But if he can't go with a head injury, Mark McKenzie will slot in right there. And then Tim Ream will be right next to him because Tim Ream was the captain of this game. He's captain under Mauricio Pochettino quite a few times at this point. He trusts him. He's a very consistent figure in there. He, again, didn't have a great game, didn't have the best defensive spotting on the goal by Waterman, but I would imagine that Pochettino sticks with Tim Ream and then either Mark McKenzie or Chris Richards. Just again, depends on Chris Richards' availability. And then left back, I'm going to go with Max Arfiston because they just need they need a left-footed guy at left back. Joe Scally was not that. And Arfston can come in and provide. He plays left wing back for Columbus Crew. He has a goal to his name at this point in the season. I just think having a guy with that left foot who can get those crosses in and also go up the pitch, I think that's a very important thing as well, because like we talked about again, Joe Scally wasn't providing that. And if you could look at like people on social media talking about what formation the United States really ran in this game, talking about Tim Weah being as a left wing back pretty much, maybe you could view it as that, but Arfston, I would just start him at left back, just getting that, again, more natural left-footed player in there. In the midfield, Tanner Tessman had some moments in this game, but there's some nerves, I think, in there as well. So I'm going to go with Weston McKennie at one spot and Tyler Adams, who I thought played pretty well. He was probably the best player on the pitch for the United States in this game. So we're going to go with that. Those two in midfield. Weston McKennie kind of flowed with Christian Pulisic on that right side. We see one of them playing on the right and the other one switching into number 10. They kind of alternated like that, but I'm going to push Weston McKennie back a little bit. At right mid, I'm going to go Christian Pulisic. Left wing is his best position. We know that. We've seen that throughout his time with the United States men's national team, but AC Milani's been playing on that right side, and Mauricio Pochettino has more or less just played him on that right. We've seen him play as number 10. We've seen him play on the right. I think we've seen him play on the left side once or twice since Mauricio Pochettino has taken over as manager, so I'm going to have him on the right. That's not my own personal opinion on the matter. That's just where I think Pochettino will play him. Tim Weah, I think, will keep his spot at left mid as well. Another position where he's been playing pretty consistently for the United States, just flipped him pretty much, because through the past however many years, it's been Weah on the right, Pulisic on the left, but Pochettino has seen to play Pulisic on the right and Weah on the left. The number 10 spot has to be someone creative in here, whether that's Reyna or Luna. I am going to go with Reyna. I do think there's a very good chance that Mauricio Pochettino goes with Diego Luna in this game, because I do think he trusts him. But Giovanni Reyna, just by all accounts, is the better player. No offense to Diego Luna, I would start Giovanni Reyna in this game. And Diego Luna, I would imagine, plays. Like Mauricio Pochettino brought up, that both of them will get a chance to play against Canada. So maybe that means both of them will start. Maybe we see like Tim Weah at right back, or Weston McKennie at right back, Joe Scally at left back, and then we see like a front three, that midfield attacking three of Luna, Reyna, and Pulisic. Regardless of where you want to put them, that you could see, I could see that being an option there as well. But that left back, just having that natural guy back there, I think is important. And then at striker, Josh Sargent did not have the greatest game. He didn't. But we saw the offsides goal that he had. I just want him to score. Like, if that offsides didn't happen, the amount of confidence that can provide a player, again, he hasn't scored since 2019. That's not great, but is Ajiman or Brian White better options than Josh Sargent at this point in time? I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't be shocked if one of those two, Ajiman or Brian White, started in this game, but I am just going to stick with Josh Sargent up top, and hopefully he does enough in this game to get a goal or grab a goal, like just something. I just want to see him score for the national team. It'd just be nice to see, but the United States, they're missing key players. Jorginho Dest and Ante Robinson are massive loss to their team. Like, if you're talking about like some of the greatest players for the United States, you're talking about like probably the two best at those fullback positions, right and left backs, Jorginho Dest and Ante Robinson. I know there's going to be calls for like Steve Cherundolo in there as well at the right back position, Fabian Johnson even, just for a versatility standpoint. But you could make an argument those two are the best right and left back the United States has ever produced, and they're massive misses. They just don't have that same attacking flair on the right and left back spots as they do when they're in there. And they're also missing Balogun. They're also missing Pepe in there as well. So there's key misses in here for sure. But again, this squad is still good enough to win this tournament. So the fact they lost to Panama, there's no excuses for that. It's embarrassing. It was toothless. Everything you want to say, every adjective you want to use to describe that game, use it, because that's what that game was. And I hope that they're able to bounce back and show a little bit of fight, show a little bit of spirit, show a little bit of heart in this game against Canada, just to at least come in third. You cannot come in fourth in this tournament. You cannot. You have won 3 straight tournaments. You cannot come in fourth. You are the big dogs. You're supposed to be the big dogs in CONCACAF. And we've made fun of Mexico for the past couple seasons for the situations that they've been stuck in. And now we're playing for a 3rd and 4th place game. And we've got the World Cup coming up next year. We got the Gold Cup this summer. Like, we have to get better. We have to get better. We are not getting grouped in a World Cup on home soil. That is not happening. And that's 400 something days away. But after that Panama game, I'm shitting my britches here a little bit. But for this game against Canada, I think they can win. I'm going to go with the 2-1 victory for the United States men's national team. I'm very scared, in this game. I'm not going to hold you. I'm very scared for this game, but I think the United States is good enough. I just hope they show that fight and creativity that we need to see from this team moving forward. Hopefully they get that done against Canada. Lord knows, though, we'll have to wait and see. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did not, I sincerely apologize. Try to be better next time. Hopefully the United States performs a lot better than we saw against Panama. Hopefully we get some goals in there. Hopefully we get some creativity, heart, passion, whatever. Just need that. Just need that. So again, hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to check out all the links down in the description below. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Check out the blog post on LoganBlackmanShow.com, the Apple Podcasts and Spotify accounts as well. But most importantly, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to check out our preview for the Panama game as well if you want to see how my thought process in that game looked compared to how the game actually turned out. I would greatly appreciate that as well. Yeah, that's all I've got for you today. I've been Logan Blackman. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Peace.